think a lot of people look at Gears of War 2 and try and reverse engineer it and say, well, what did they do? And it's like at the end of the day, it was the combat and the way it feels to play this game.
Feel is everything in a game. If you don't have that ultimate tangible feel in the first 30 seconds of what the fun is, you need to start over and go back to the drawing board.
You have this level of immersion where you forget that you're playing a game. You feel like you're standing in the middle of this war zone and your buddies are around you and dying.
Camera tightens in when you're in cover, and so you're feeling like you're being threatened, and the fact that when you die you have to sit out, and so you don't want to die, and the fact that it's so visceral with the chainsaw, and when you get killed in a big way. And so I think all that sort of intensity on top of the simplicity really makes people want to keep coming back to it over and over and over again.
Think of Gears as destroyed beauty. We build these beautiful buildings with medieval influences, and then we tear them to pieces and destroy them.
Given Gears' focus on cover, I mean, they almost have to have a world that is destroyed, because, no architect builds a world with, stray cement blocks and blown up cars.
Moss and verdigris on the copper and crumbling rubble. It just tells a story better than pristine science fiction style environments. We want you to be firing a machine gun and chips of stone are gobbling everywhere and statues are crumbling, and to feel like you're having an impact. Because really the way you interact with the world is through the end of a gun in a shooter.
At the heart of a video game, it's about the interaction. And what's great about Gears is there is an intimacy to that action.
From the get-go, we intentionally built Gears to be a far more in-your-face, a far closer experience. You have a chance to actually get up on your enemy and to knock them down, take them as a hostage, use a chainsaw on them, or finish them off in one of numerous nasty ways.
We call it intimate violence, that feeling of being right in the middle of the thick of it, and that gives you that passion.
When you stick someone with the chainsaw, you feel it, like the remote kind of shakes, and you can feel, like it go into the, into the enemy. I had to put the joystick down and kind of decide if I was really going to play this game or not. It was kind of intense.
The enemy is not all the way across the battlefield from you, but they're right in front of you. You can hear them grunt.
The curb stomping, the chainsawing, everything just felt much more immediate in that game. And it wasn't a lot of like, let me sit back here and kind of shoot at a target. It was like, how can I get in behind this target and punch him in the nads? That's what I wanted to do. Not that I hate nads. Nads are great. Everybody loves nads.
Epic first displayed Gears of War 2 not as a demo of the game, but as a technology demo at the Game Developers Conference up in San Francisco. And one of the demos they showed was this meat cube, which has become sort of a fan favorite online, which is this sort of gelatinous cube of meat.
It's all about the meat cube. It's a meat cube. It's a cube of meat.
I'm sure they're all sitting around going, well, what would be funny and cool? Oh, a giant cube of meat that we'll roll around and we'll shoot at.
Anytime you have improvements in technology, if you don't put them in your game, you might as well not bother building them in the first place.
A video game engine is sort of the base level of technology. It's the graphics, it's the artificial intelligence that tells monsters how to behave. The game itself is the monsters. It's Marcus Phoenix and the Locust drones, and it's when you kick down the door, 3 guys rush into the room. That's the video game. And the engine is everything beneath it.
There's a reason why it's called an engine, because it's all these parts working together to drive the video game experience.
We're now able to spawn quite a number of AI characters on the screen at one time. You're battling actual hordes of locusts versus the few that you might have seen on screen in Gears 1.
In Lord of the Rings, when you have these like hundreds of thousands of troops coming in, well, Gears is like that, except instead of just seeing them come in, you can just take down every single one of them.
Games have gotten a lot smarter. Like, how you play the game has functionally changed rather than guy A shoots at guy B. Now there's a whole lot of letters in between.
Artificial intelligence is the computer's ability to make you feel like you're playing against somebody who's got a brain.
Good AI isn't an AI that kicks the player's butt. It's AI that the player feels entertained by.
AI allows us to anthropomorphize these digital avatars that otherwise have no personality. They're just lines of code. But when they're done right, you actually feel like you're fighting against this guy who has it out for you.
You see them, spreading out in formation, and I take cover behind a car, and you hear a locust go, "He's behind the car," and you're like, "Oh crap, they know where I am."
There were so many times when I would, you're trying to get a beat on a bad guy, but it's like they knew you were just waiting for them to pop up, so they're not popping up, and you're like, "Well, crap!" And then there's another guy. Well, oh, then he came up.
Sometimes it's all about the little things, the tickers being the little creatures that, chomp their teeth, the fact that they behave like cockroaches and try and avoid sight until they get close and then they rush you and explode.
The enemies, you know, I'm pretty sure they're smart. They, you know, obviously I beat the game, so they weren't that smart.
It's one thing to feel afraid when bullets are coming at you or monsters bearing down at you. The trickier thing is to actually make players empathize with the characters that are in this world.
To make these worlds realistic, this is something that was not possible 10 or 15 years ago. The depth that you see and, you know, the artistic design that you see was just not physically possible. And all these things put together in the engine make it so you see it as a cinematic experience, not even as a gaming experience. You're unaware of so much work that's going on in the background. You know, you're playing the movie.